they say, and where's your office? I tell them, I can't have an office
Right.
if I don't have a legal entity.
You might not think about it as a perfect ecosystem.
The Netherlands is the best country in the world to launch your business.
Okay, this is step number 1, step number 2, step number 3, and then you're ready to roll.
Why not? Isn't it the way it's supposed to be? We are grown-up guys and we wanted to face all the challenges alone.
Was it worth it?
No, it wasn't. Seek professional help.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Unit City Podcast.
Welcome to Unit City Podcast, and today we're exploring what it's like to move to the Netherlands on a startup visa and actually any other visa and get settled here. There's a lot on your plate, bureaucracy, difficult questions that you try to find an answer to, and as we already talked before, you don't know what you don't know. And today, I'm joined again by an entrepreneur, so please could you introduce yourself and let us know what's your experience been like with the visa in the Netherlands.
My pleasure. My name is Dmitry. I'm the co-founder of GameAnalyze. It's a Dutch startup. We're building a well-being application for the kids to screen them for vulnerable conditions through a very simple hyper-casual game. My experience with the startup visa was pretty swift, but it could have been much easier at the same time because when we had this idea of our potential startup and our future business, we understood that we had to take it somewhere. And that was the time when I told my co-founders, why don't we take it to the Netherlands? And it's a pretty sentimental thing to me because I have a huge history with the Netherlands. I've been here, 50 times in the last 20 years. My best friend is a local from Leiden, so the choice was pretty obvious. But then again, we decided to move here, but we didn't know a thing. I dropped a couple of emails to my contacts. They listened to me pitch, said, absolutely have to come over and you have to talk to several organizations. What organizations? I had no clue. They gave me contacts of several organizations, namely Innovation Quarter, CIC Rotterdam and several other facilitators. The choice was pretty simple. We came over, we went to Innovation Quarter. They told us we had only about 30 minutes for our discussion, but our talk took about 3.5 hours. We discussed everything in regards of business, moving business, soft landing, launching a startup, etc., etc., etc. And then they told us that we also had to talk to several facilitators, and we already had a slot scheduled here with CIC Rotterdam. It was decided on the spot. In half an hour, we understood what we had to do, and next thing you know, we started preparing the documents.
So it was so fast. You literally didn't have any background before on what you have to do in any steps. Then you come here, talk to people, and you settle everything on the ground.
This is what I absolutely love about the Netherlands. Everyone is so open, so straightforward, but at the same time, they are very willing to help.
That's true.
Then again, the next steps followed, and we had to fill out the documents. And that was the most stressful time in all of our journey.
Don't you think sometimes people answer here only exactly to your question and don't tell you about the specifics, like kind of like a more of a summary about everything you have to do, but like very precise?
They sometimes do. They obviously sometimes do. But why not? Isn't it the way it's supposed to be? You ask the question, and you shall be answered.
That is true. However, we did have a couple of experiences of entrepreneurs coming over to podcast and telling us, we didn't get the 30% ruling for entrepreneurs because they didn't know it's possible. They thought it's only for employees.
All right. Now, those are several peculiarities that you have to ask for extra. Exactly. You have to do the research on your own, but if you don't have any time to do that, and if you don't understand what exactly to look for, seek professional help.
And about business, could you tell us a bit more about your experience of, there's a lot. There are taxes, there's a business accountant that you have to hire. There's of course the facilitator you have to work with. How does it all come into picture, into the final puzzle?
The funniest thing was, if I remember correctly, because it took place a couple of years ago, was the fact that we had to launch a legal entity here. And at the same time, we already have to have an office here. And they don't work without one another. So I come to specialists and I say, I want to launch a legal entity. And they say, and where's your office? I tell them, I can't have an office
Right.
If I don't have a legal entity, then I want to come and rent out an office.
Mm-hmm.
And they tell me, what is your legal entity? I say, I don't have a legal entity because I don't have an office yet. And that was one of the biggest hurdles for me in the first place, to understand it
Mm-hmm.
and then to make it work.
How did you solve it?
I think I managed to talk to the specialists who helped us with the legal side of things,
Yes.
and the specialists who provided us with an office.
Mm-hmm.
In parallel, I made it work for the three parties
Mm-hmm.
involved.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't remember how.
That all comes with people.
Absolutely.
We do that. We do the same at Unit City. We connect people with the office before they even have to come here and talk to people. Because otherwise, it's like the same thing as for housing, you have to get a BSN number. For BSN number, sometimes you have to have a housing.
Absolutely.
How does it work? It's
No one
just
knows how it works. And if you come to the Netherlands, in the
Mhm.
first place, you might think about clogs or tulips or cheese.
Mm.
You don't think about the Netherlands as a potential place for your business
Mhm.
to launch your startup, and as a perfect ecosystem for
Mhm.
the entrepreneurs. There are loads of things you have to understand,
Mhm.
and if you don't know what to Google, you're not Googling into anything.
Right. Definitely. But you mentioned you might not think about it as a perfect ecosystem. How would you explain that? I do think that Netherlands has a lot of benefits for entrepreneurs. What do you think about it?
I honestly think that the Netherlands is still one of the best places in the
Mhm.
world to launch into your first business, into your second, into your seventh business. The Netherlands is the best
Mhm.
country in the world to launch your business, because everyone is very helpful. With all these ins and outs, as soon as you understand how it all works, it's not that hard. It's pretty easy if you take it step by step, but
Mhm.
at the same time, it can sound overwhelming. There's too much to think of, there's
Mhm.
too much to do, and you're there on your own, and you have to start from the very beginning, and you can't even understand where the beginning is. So it might sound a bit challenging if you ask me.
Right, and if you miss something, there is this wonderful Belastingdienst blue letter waiting for you. Hey, we are here to remind you that you have to set up this and this and that. And if you don't, that's your problem.
And recently, I've talked to our bookkeeper,
Mhm.
who's obviously a local with a huge experience in bookkeeping, and he told me that he is sometimes pretty scared to open his mailbox because he might find that blue envelope in there. It still is. And we're talking about startups, mostly about expats who come here for the first time in their lives and they don't understand a thing.
If locals are afraid,
Exactly.
then what are we going to talk when it comes to foreigners?
That's what I'm saying.
But it's not as difficult. It's more of the emotional part that's attached to it. Because again, you don't know what you don't know. You have to understand everything. And then you realize what these letters are for.
Absolutely, and they are absolutely fair. If you structure it in your head, it becomes a perfect ladder.
Right.
If you take it step by step, you're good to go.
How did you approach it? Did you find help from someone who could organize these things for you, who could maybe help you with the Dutch procedures, or who could, do an office registration or a business registration for
Of
you?
course we didn't, because we are grown-up guys and we wanted to face all the challenges alone.
Was it worth it?
No, it wasn't. Not a single minute of those challenges was worth it.
Mm-hmm.
We of course received enormous help from the facilitator, namely CIC. We of course could ask questions, but then again, we didn't know which questions to ask. We couldn't understand what exactly we needed
Mm-hmm.
at the separate stage of our startup development.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the time when I eagerly asked for help, but I didn't receive it because I didn't know who to ask.
Yes. And CAC or any facilitator, sometimes they will answer your questions that are related to business, that are related to how you're going to grow, I don't know, revenue, any other things. But they're not experts when it comes to, let me, help you find a housing, or let me help you with register with the insurance or any other things.
It's not that much of their functions, if you ask me. And this is exactly the place where some kind of organization or any other helper could be of use for the expert startups in the first place, of course.
So you regret not asking for help when it was necessary.
I can be absolutely honest with you. I have my regrets and I'm not hiding them.
Yeah, that is one of the big problems that, of course, if we come back to what you said, that's difficult for locals sometimes, that difficult for foreigners. The system is pretty simple if we look at it in general. But then you do need someone to tell you, okay, this is step number 1, step number 2, step number 3, and then you're ready to roll.
You know what? I'm actually a marketing specialist and I absolutely hate the word guide because
Yes.
I don't need a guide, but this is exactly the place where you could use that. You need a
A
guide
guide.
to guide you through the process. Simple as that.
Yes, definitely. If you were to go back and maybe rewrite some of the stars and some of the mistakes that you've made, if we can call them like that, would you consult someone on your business processes, or would you consult someone on the whole integration, let's say, to the Netherlands?
I would say that if you want to make it work,
Yeah.
you have to look at the biggest picture.
Mm-hmm.
You need to break it down into the steps, different timelines,
Yeah.
into your journey, call it whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but seek help.
Mm-hmm.
Ask for help. It's challenging, it's simple yet challenging, but at the same time, if you don't want to lose loads of money, loads of time,
Yes.
ask questions.
Sometimes a single consultation of a couple of hundreds euros could save you thousands, I'd say,
I'm
when it
not
comes on the
arguing
big
this.
picture.
I'm not arguing this.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. And how about more of the personal integration? You mentioned that you also came here with your family. How did you get settled in general?
We were not breaking any records here, but it took us 4 months to find an apartment.
Here, it's still a long process before you can get the house that you applied for.
Absolutely, and you have to provide them with all the documents,
Again,
with all
yeah.
the pay slips, contracts, etc., etc., and then you have to write a huge motivational letter.
Yeah.
And that was a surprise for me, because the landlord of my current apartment fell for my motivational letter.
Okay.
Not for all the documents, not for all the locals supporting me, but for the motivational letter. And this is another tiny hurdle that you could get into your journey as a newcomer in the Netherlands. If you don't know how to properly position yourself, write your story and tell it to your target audience, if talking about the landlords in this case, seek professional help.
If we compare motivation letter for housing with, let's say, a business plan, that's different target audience.
Absolutely.
But it's kind of in the parallel, because to actually get even approved for a startup visa here, and that's not many startup visas that are given in one single year to people, you also have to convince them that this business is going to roll here and roll well.
Absolutely.
How did you approach it? What did you start with?
And you come to the Netherlands,
Yes.
you have to understand that you has to be fully covered in regards of your business plan, in regards of your prospects, and in regards of your milestones for the first year. It's not that hard to cover them all once again, but at the same time you have to know the information that they are looking for in your
Right.
application. And this is exactly another thing that was pretty tough for us when we came over, because we didn't really know what exactly was innovative for the Kingdom of Netherlands. We didn't exactly know what to put in our business plan,
Yeah.
and we made it a huge one. And we didn't have to have it that large. So if you need to get all the documents done, first seek information. Look at the case studies
Yeah.
and ask the professionals if you need help.
So a lot of entrepreneurs are afraid that once they are in the Netherlands, they need to work also with the Dutch audience, with Dutch customers, but they don't speak the local language. Do you think that could be one of the barriers when it comes to working with Dutch people?
Might be, but at the same time we have to remember that the Netherlands has a very unfair advantage. It is the most English-speaking country in European Union. And I would say it is one of the most English-speaking countries across the globe.
Yes.
I think more than 90% of people who live in the Netherlands speak English to some extent, and most of them speak absolutely perfect English, let me assure you.
That's absolutely correct. Although, I do think that if you want to expand to more of a Dutch market, then within years, you could still try to learn Dutch and see how you can work more with, bigger Dutch companies that prefer to hire locals.
It depends on the scale of your potential integration.
Right.
If you want to be integrated in any, and I mean any country in the world, as a note of respect, you absolutely learn a local language.
Absolutely.
If you don't, you're not getting integrated.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty fair if you ask me, but then again, if you speak English and if you can make yourself understood, if you can tell your potential target audience about your project or about yourself to begin with, Netherlands is the perfect place to begin.
You can still pitch yourself in English, you can do business in English, it's all accessible. I think that makes it really attractive for a lot of entrepreneurs and startups, of course.
One of the most beautiful things about the Netherlands is if there's, an event, if there is a pitch session and there are a couple of hundreds of people sitting at the auditorium, they always ask whether there is a single person in the audience who doesn't speak Dutch. And if there is one man or woman who doesn't speak Dutch, they proceed in English.
They're going to switch for you. Yes.
Excellent.
So I think that is definitely making it easier when it comes to integration process. However, with the raising of language level, from A2 to B1, it still might be a struggle if you want to get the Dutch passport later or if you want to do, more things in Dutch. So coming back to more of business side of the question. So you mentioned that you started everything from scratch here in the Netherlands. You didn't operate the business before, so it was also figuring out how to make this business, work well here. Any difficulties that you ran across during the process of, let's say, the first 6 months of your work?
I think that although we are pretty skilled in our spheres, all of us, the co-founders, it's still the first business for all of us.
Right.
So we couldn't understand how all these legal structures have to work, whether we had to launch into a BV or ZZP, and we just couldn't find proper answers. And now I understand through a couple of years that we could have chosen an easier, a faster, and a cheaper way. But I guess that's the way you learn.
Again, seeking help, knowing your options or not knowing your options, you still have to consider alternatives. And if one way would be better for you at a given point of time, and then you can switch to another business model as you grow, that is a possibility.
Correct.
Yeah. Did it happen for you, or did you stick to the same registration as you did ever since the start?
We went for the classic way of breaking through the walls on our own, not asking questions and getting into trouble.
That sounds like a very interesting plan. When it comes to the first 6 months of your work, did processes get easier as you finally learned, okay, maybe there's something that we missed?
Of course they got easier. And if you ask me whether I'm proud of our journey, I'm not.
Okay, but you have to be proud of your business and the innovation and value that you're bringing to the country as well.
I will not argue this one.
Yes, that's one of the most important things. And in general, do you regret moving to the Netherlands or not and starting a business here?
I am a very wrong person to ask this.
Okay.
Because I still consider the Netherlands to be one of the best countries in the world, one of the best ecosystems for the startups in the European Union. And I think as time goes by, as you learn more and more about the country, about the people, about the weather, you grow to love this place with every given day. You will not regret it for a second if you decide to come here and go through all the steps and every single hurdle with professional help.
Absolutely true. And I do think that as you progress and as you learn more, exactly as you said, as you learn even the language, you get to speak with people. You get to understand that this is definitely a good ecosystem for you to be in.
And this is crucial.
Yes,
You've got to pay back. When you receive, you've got to pay back.
Any main points, kind of the main insights of the whole application journey that, let's say, our audience is watching us and they are at the beginning of their journey. And they maybe right now are thinking, okay, so I have this business idea, but I don't know where to start. I don't know where to go. What would you tell them?
I would tell them you have to first understand if you are happy with your idea. Because it doesn't start with step 1, it starts with step 0. If you're happy with your idea and you understand that you want to bring it into life, consider the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Because here the people are very open-minded, and if your idea is innovative enough, this is the best place to start. If you decide to move to the Netherlands, seek professional help. I've said it dozens of times and I will die on this hill completely. Seek professional help. Not to waste any hour, not to waste a second. Ask the professionals. They will help you to understand, move, and launch. The faster you understand that these are not hurdles, but steps, the better off, the sooner you are.
Absolutely. And you did not compare any other country for moving with your business, only the Netherlands. That was your choice, one and only.
No, to be honest, it was the only choice.
Okay. I'd say it was a very good choice though.
Thank you, I'm not regretting it.
That is definitely good.
It's very simple, guys. If you have an idea, don't sit on it. Let the world know. Your idea might not sound great within your brain, but it might be groundbreaking, game-changing, innovative, whatever the obvious words you choose to call it, for another person. And if your idea is good for another person, you're most definitely finding an extra 100 or 1,000 people happy with your idea. And if you want to save time, let's say it together, seek professional help.
And if you are questioning whether your idea is innovative enough, or you fit the criteria, or you want to write a business plan that actually works and that settles your visa in the Netherlands, we can guarantee that your business plan will get the green light. Contact Unit City today and book a consultation with us. We are waiting for you down in the description. Thank you very much for joining us today. It was very insightful, very motivational, and I would say very emotional conversation, because you've been through the whole process. You definitely have all of this, milestones that you've reached. Some of them you're happy about, some of them maybe not so much, but I'm sure it's a journey. And journey is a journey. You learn through the way, and perhaps at that time, a couple of years ago, there weren't as many people that you could ask for help, but right now there are. So again, thank you very much for joining us today, and it was a pleasure talking with you.
Thanks for having me, my pleasure.
And we'll see you on our next podcast.